Hi, this is Leah Myers of Myers Design Studio, and today we're going to be doing block 6 of the Hearts and Heroes quilt. And let's get sewing. Okay, so I start off by, and I'm using my block that I've done already as a pattern, and you can use the paper pattern that I've provided. And I pretty much just lay the block out first, like this. That's how I start every time. However, with this block, because there's so many flying geese, I kind of just had a stack of triangles and a stack of the green color triangles and a stack of these, and I just kind of chain pieced them all, absolutely all of them. And I left this one just to do on camera. But that goes so that you have all your flying geese ready, and you just start putting together stars. That is what I did. I do kind of a chain piece method where I do all of the flying geese at once. And these are bigger flying geese than the ones on block. I think it's block 4, because this right here, these little flying geese are so little, like. They're just kind of hard for me to hold perfectly under the sewing machine. So I didn't want to frustrate you. Oops. Or knock down my design wall here. It won't knock it down. It's fine. So anyway, I start with my flying geese. And be careful. It's exactly like those 60-degree stars. You just want to have a perfect 1/4-inch seam going all the way down. Perfect 1/4-inch seam going all the way down. And I have the templates that you can use, and it's pretty easy. I pretty much just cut a strip, and then I move the template up and down to get the triangle shape. I'm getting close to getting off that. So anyway, I just quit. I do the flying geese first, because I kind of like to get those out of the way, and then I like to construct this block. This block is real fast, to be honest, because once you get the flying geese done, it's pretty much finished. And Ohio stars are used for everything. You can make them scrappy. You can make them... And you also have that issue, like if you're starting at a point, which I am right here, you could have like a leader, like another piece of fabric to keep that little bit of fabric, because it's got an angle there from going into the feed dogs. Because occasionally my feed dogs would start eating some of these points, and that is super frustrating, because they can get kind of shredded in there. I've had a couple points shredded. And flying geese are kind of a bias. It's kind of a bias cut. So when you're sewing, be sure you're not stretching the fabric, you're lightly touching it, not pulling in any way, because you can actually make this a lot larger than it's supposed to be. Now, if you happen to have done that, and you made it larger, and you were kind of tense while you're sewing, go ahead and just stop and steam it really well. You can even lightly starch it to kind of coax those fibers back into place. That's what you're doing. You're going to put those fibers back into place. And it should help. But anyway, I've got these done. I'll demonstrate one, and then I'll finish doing the rest of the flying geese. So it's just like the 60-degree star that we did. I'm going to use a little water here. I put it on my mat because I want the steam to come up. This is not a steam, well, it has a steam function on it, but I don't find that it works that well. So I just slightly spritz my mat. If I'm doing a lot of pieces and I'm using my little travel iron, I find that I get a tighter press doing that method. Okay. So just lay it, you know, straight sides together, making sure, just like the other one, that you're crossing that upper part at a 1/4 inch. My white triangle, my white triangle, for some reason I must have cut it just a little bigger than, I can measure this and I can tell you it's a little bigger. I don't know why. I'm not perfect. And you know, while you're sewing, just don't go for perfection. Go for okay, and I can live with that. Don't say, I gotta get it perfect. Don't do that. You don't have to be perfect. So I'm going in at a pretty steep angle, and I'm gonna trust my machine. And this has got very narrow feed dogs, and usually when I use these machines that have smaller feed dogs, I don't have that problem with the angle getting, you know, sucked into the feed dogs. When I'm using my big Bernina upstairs, and it's got feed dogs that are just huge, instead of using my 1/4 inch piecing foot, I will use a regular sewing foot, and I'll move the needle over to a 1/4 inch. Because if you find your feed dogs are grabbing those points and just eating them, which, you know, my big Bernina eats them all the time. So that is really good. A 1/4 inch. I'm going to press it with a little steam here. Yeah, pretty good. I like it. Yeah. Yep, it's fine. 1/4 inch exactly. Pretty tight, but it'll work. And so that's a flying geese that you make yourself. And okay, so you're gonna want to square this up. Don't square it up unless you've made this oversized. If you've made this like a bigger triangle on the outsides, I wouldn't do the bigger triangle on the inside. If you want to oversize the triangles on the outside to make sure that you get it exactly the shape, then you could do that. Like just go up another 1/4 inch in size of this triangle, the outside triangle. But don't square it up. Just leave it like this, as it is. It will be fine. It'll all work out. Believe me. This block turned out fine. I did all of the blocks already for this quilt. This is my very last one, and it will work out. So, all right. Let me finish sewing this up, and we'll start constructing it. All right, so I have all my flying geese ready to go, and I am really happy with how they came out. I've got a 1/4 inch at the bottom. That is the important, crucial part of a flying geese, is this little bottom part right there, or top, or whichever side it is. But anyway, that's the one you want to watch, pretty much. And I'm just going to go ahead and construct this together. And making sure I have a 1/4 inch seam. Get my needle out. I'm really happy with, my sister says she's gonna get me one of these 319s. I kind of like it. It doesn't sew like a home sewing machine. It kind of sews like an industrial machine. If it's working really great, if you get one that's really working great, and you do a lot of quilts, or you make quilts for a business, this thing feels like a business machine, you know? I don't do that. I don't sew people quilts for a business. Because when I add up the hours that it would take to sew a quilt for somebody, It's enormous. Okay, you can see this better, I think. So I use a pin on the outside, and I just gently place my pin on top of the fabric. And it's not lying exactly flat, that's fine. Just walk it up to the pin that's in there. Take it out. Gently grab a little bit of the fabric with the pin and then start sewing. Not enough to pucker, but what you're doing is that you're easing it in. It's called easing. And when you're sewing garments, which I've sewn a lot of garments, when you're doing armholes that that don't have gathers and stuff, you will ease it in. Another technique which I don't subscribe to, some people pull on the fabric. I don't do that. I just ease in with a pin. I ease it in a little bit at a time. Not enough to where it's, you know, visible. And then when I go to the iron, I'll give it a little steam, and then it all goes back into place. It just means that there's just a little more surface area on that triangle on the outside than there should be. And so when I turn this back over, oh, come on. Okay. I gotta get my foot right on that. There's two little things. There's one that doesn't move. There's one that, I guess so you can rest your foot, right? You can rest your foot a little bit, and then you can move it over to press the button. I'll show you. The foot, I mean. Let me clean it off a little bit. Like that. Is it? Yeah. See? Here's the button that you can rest your foot on, and here's the button that operates the machine. And whenever I'm trying to get it to go, I sometimes am pressing on this instead of that. But I think it's so that you can rest your foot on the pedal, the heel of your foot, and then once you're ready to sew, you just move your heel over and start pressing. But it's kind of ingenious. It's, you know, like there's most of our modern machines have like a lever, but this one, it's interesting. I've used this type of foot a lot with antique machines. Anyway, let me move the camera back and keep going. Okay, now I just iron this block. Oh, let me put this down. Don't need that there. And I will steam. Oh, there it is. I usually steam. I have a little mister bottle here. I have a black one for my water and a white one for my starch. And sometimes I starch these, and this turned out really well. And I'll show you where we eased in that, and it's on this side. So I'm just going to lightly press it down, and it is just shrinking back into place like it's supposed to. No panic. Now, if you have too much of a pucker or whatever, you'll notice, and you'll probably just have to do that part again or practice a little bit. But if it's just slightly like I showed you, I just kind of bend it, pin it, you know, not stretching it, just bend it a little. But anyway, we're done with the 6th block. So last block in the Hearts of Heroes quilt is block 6. I appreciate you guys watching. I look forward to seeing you the next time. We're going to do the finishing of the quick scrap quilt and the quick scrap quilt, the snowstorm quilt, and the Hearts of Heroes quilt. I had to get them all in my head there just now. But anyway, I look forward to seeing you next time on my next episode. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys out there. It's been great. I've had very neat comments out there. It's really been nice, and I appreciate all your feedback. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.